All right, everyone. So today we have an introduction of a new partner company for Xculture, Referi. So new and old in a way. So on the one hand, it's a new brand, new product, but old because the team participated with the different product in the past. And so what excites me most about this company is that not only we will learn something about Referi, the company now, but also it's interesting to see the evolution, the pivots, the development of the company. So many of you students would like to start your business soon too. You want to be where Referi or the old name Segnapunto or product is. And I think it will happen to you too. So hardly ever entrepreneurs get it sort of, exactly right away. So they keep innovating, keep trying new things, keep trying new products. And so it's very interesting to observe from the side how the company is developing. And so today we would like to talk both about the company's history and the decisive moments and decisions they had to make, but also about the product and more importantly, where you students come in along. So what kind of help you can provide, what exactly you need to do to both be helpful to the company, but also to impress them so much that maybe some of you will get some form of a, I don't know, internship offer or maybe job offer, or maybe some sort of a partnership. So we'll see. So we have here several guest speakers, and I'll turn the microphone to you guys to do a quick introduction. And maybe let's start with a little history of the company. So basically what you do and how you came about doing this.
Okay. Hi, everybody, guys. Nice to be here. Thank you for coming. Thank you, Vasil, for this second opportunity. Roberto speaking. I'm responsible for marketing here at Referi. Roberto Trevisan here. He is the senior developer of the app and the inventor of the app. And Luca Trevisan, who's responsible for finance and CEO of the company. I would like to share a presentation. Can you please, Roberto, share a presentation?
And I think you should be able to do so. Let me just make sure that we have no restrictions on sharing the screen. You can share the slide.
Yeah, you should allow us.
Do I need to do that separately? Let me see.
It's disabled at the moment.
Yeah. Okay. Just 1 second. One second. Yes, it should work now. Please try.
Okay.
Is it working?
Yeah. Do you see?
Yes, we see the slides. Yes.
Okay. I guess nobody of you, except of course Vasil and his team, was attending the last meeting some month ago, the last presentation. So I will start over again, trying to tell you what's Referi about, the features, the goals, the aim, and obviously the project evolution, starting from a completely rebrand. As probably Vasil mentioned before, the original name was Segnapunto, an Italian translation of scoreboard, more or less. And we've been discussing for a while about whether maintaining or not this Italian connotation. That was quite interesting because we know that Italy is an international brand.
Yeah.
Of course, luxury cars or fashion or food and beverage, etc. But at the end, we decided to go for an international name, and we picked up this one, Referi.
Yeah, and I will tell you, if I may, so I spoke to several professors about that, and so we were looking at the list of companies this semester, and several actually said that Referi sounds not only very international, but everybody knows the word, and the way you spell
exactly.
It is different. So immediately you know that it has to do something with the sport, something to do with the judging. So it was a very, very smart idea to come up with this name and use this name.
Thank you, Vasil. It's really encouraging because we had a lot of doubts about the name because, as you probably all know, there's no Referi in tennis or padel, and that's an app originally conceived and developed for tennis and later for padel and other racket sports. And so we have a chair empire, for example, in tennis. But at the end, we decided not to give a tennis connotation to this app because in our project, this is a multi-sport app. Okay, so we wanted to find out, to pick up a universal name. And when we got to know that el referi is a word used also in the Spanish world, especially Latin America, we said, okay, that's the one.
Because but the way we discussed it, so these days it seems like most of the companies like to name themselves with the word that everybody understands, but they spell it differently. And so for the English-speaking word, the word referee, we know what it is, but you spell it kind of in a simplified way. So it makes it sort of interesting. So you know the word, but you have the simplified spelling, European spelling. And so I think this is a very smart way to sort of, to give people something to sort of think about, be catchy, and at the same time still fully understandable and clear, exactly knowing that, yeah, it has something to do with the sports, it has something to do with judging. So that was a very, very strong move in my opinion.
Thank you very much. And as you can see, we have payoff, the game changer. That's very aspirational payoff, but that's what this app is about. I mean, people spend a lot of time discussing or fighting about the score and the rules, etc. And this app one aims at being the solution. So we really want to change the game, at least in amateur world, of course. And we have this icon, this logo representing a simplified shape of two balls and two rackets and two opposite sides, the opponents playing together and referee as a balance of these two opposite sides, of course, as a judge or as a decider. Okay.
And anyway, also the way you put those balls, it sort of gives you a trajectory upwards. So again, kind of gives you,
exactly.
A very positive meaning. So I'm not sure who came up with that idea. Was it you or you hired an external? Actually, tell us. So the name, the logo, the slogan, is it something you came up with in-house, or did you hire some professional marketing agency to do it? Because
no,
very, very clever.
No, in-house. I have some experience. I was a former copywriter. I've been working with advertising agencies for many years. So we came up with this idea in-house. So it's obviously properly made because of my previous experience.
Yeah, okay. So you had enough in-house expertise, because sometimes what happens is people who develop apps, they're good programmers, computer scientists, but not so much marketing people. So in your case, it seems like you have both marketing expertise and the product expertise. So
yeah, we tried to put all the pieces together, but unfortunately, many things has happened since the last time that we met, both personally and company-wise, and under a personal point of view. I've been going through a difficult, very tricky moment, so I couldn't be in touch with the project as I wanted to be, but we are trying to go on. Anyway, the man here at my left, Roberto Trevisan, he's the inventor of the app. And it's a point that I really want to underline for you guys, because I think it's really inspiring and encouraging. He wasn't a professional developer. So he really invented a profession. He made an incredible job. He was able to develop the beta version of this app with very few resources, and he made brilliant job. Of course, he asked for collaborations, external collaborations, but all you can see downloading the app, it comes from this guy. And he had the idea for this app because he is also a senior amateur tennis player. So while he was playing with his friends, the court, he realized that they spent a lot of time discussing about the score of the rules. It was 15-0, no, it was 15-low, etc. 15-low, sorry, or 30-15. So they always ended up discussing about the score. So he has himself out to solve this problem, and he came up with this really simple and smart solution.
Can I
a
ask you a
scoreboard.
clarifying question here? So you used the word invented. And so for something like this, because, we see many products where you have an app for solving a problem. So is the process similar to sort of a discovery in a way, like, like what you would have a discovery in science where you play a game and they're like, oh, that's a great idea to have an app like that. And then once you have the discovery, the execution, the development of the app is easier. Or is it the opposite, sort of, you always knew that you sort of need the app, and so the idea is easy, but then developing the app is the difficult process. So is it sort of that light bulb moment that determines everything, or is it the idea is easy, but development is hard? I'm just curious for myself. I have obviously a lot of apps on my phone, and I always wanted to know, like, for an app that you then will sell it one day for $1 billion to some, like Nike, for example, or whatever company. I'm not sure what your exit strategy. So was that the idea, the discovery that matters, or the development effort, the idea where the most work and hard effort goes into?
Let me say that it wasn't that fashion. I mean, when we were playing, we were, quite old, as you say, and we had this problem. And I said, well, it would be nice to have an app where the rules of the game are embedded inside the app. So not just, some number that change, like a LED billboard in some place, but an app that tells you who's serving, who's receiving,
more. Yeah.
the change on the tie break, and when you have to change score. Because, like in tennis, the rules can be very tricky.
Yep, that's
and
very
not speaking about table tennis, when you play double in table tennis, it's a mess.
That's very true. I actually do play a little tennis, and I'm always confused. The serves, that part I get, but like all those sets, and then when do you stop? Sometimes it could be kind of overwhelming for an amateur like myself.
Yeah. Well, the real thing was not so much creating the app, but at a certain point it came to my mind. How do we use it? Because you cannot play tennis with a phone in your pocket, and okay, you can do it in table tennis, but you cannot play paddle with a phone, and you cannot go back and forth,
That's
to the bench, to change the score. And so we developed this way of advancing the score using Bluetooth buttons that are wearable by the player, and that advance the score on the application, and the application knows how to handle the whole match and save all the results, like statistics of the game and so on. So it wasn't invention, but it was a maturation. Let me say that.
And Basil, sorry for interrupting you. From my experience as a previous copywriter, a former copywriter and creative director, I'm quite experienced in terms of ideas and how to develop ideas. And what I know is that there's a recurrent process. So you receive a brief from your client, and it's like, solving a puzzle. Okay. So you stress your brain, you stress your mind, and you make a lot of research because you need to collect as much information as you can. So there's a process divided in 3 parts. First, you just read the brief and try to understand it and collect as much information as you can. Okay, and you stress your brain. Sometimes you have just 1 week to present a new campaign, including TV commercial, radio commercial, billboards, outdoors, etc. So you have a very short time, and you need to find out a memorable and distinctive idea. So you have to stress yourself. Stress is your best friend, and that's the first part. So you read as much as you can, you collect as much information as you can. Then you just stop thinking about it. completely stop thinking about it, maybe for one day, because we don't have too much time, but you stop thinking about it and you just let your unconscious part putting all the pieces together, okay? And then you refine. We have these formula in advertising words, the day after proof, la prova del giorno dopo. So you just write down your idea and then wait, and you read them again the day after. Maybe sometimes you think, what a shit, or sometimes they are brilliant, okay. And then it's probably the hardest part. You have to develop this idea. So in my industry, in advertising industry or big event industry, design industry, etc., you have to involve many people, director of photography, actors, etc., etc. Of course, art directors, designers, and so on. And the hardest part in that moment is trying to be as consistent as possible with the original idea one side, and from the other side, also be as open as possible to new developments, because sometimes someone else who is involved later in the process can come up with a brilliant idea that you can add as a new piece of this puzzle. And so the two parts of the process are equally important, but are two different moments.
Yeah. Well, very interesting. I do have quite a few more questions about the process, about the challenges, because as I said, our students would like to start their own companies and we want to learn from your experience. But let's talk first. Sorry, I keep interrupting you. Let's talk about your product. I see you have the slides that describe what the product is. So do I understand correctly that it's not only the app, it's also an actual wearable physical product as well, right?
Sorry?
So your product is not just the app on the phone, it's also a physical button that you use, right? So there's a physical component. So tell us more about how it works.
Okay, it's simple like that. You just, okay, let's go forward to this slide. Just forward, these presentation will focus on clubs, tennis clubs, because it's our focus at the moment, it's our goal at the moment. When Roberto originally developed the beta version, of course, he tested the app amongst his friends, and it was quite a success. So he decided to go to markets, and but we realized quite soon that if we had to reach every single amateur player, it would have been very, very, very difficult, very tricky. And clubs could be a shortcut to reach a wider amount of people, of course. So our offer is now focused on clubs. But I will start now by presenting you the funnel of for the players. So you just have to download the app from the iOS or Android store. You can purchase a button or a couple of buttons, because the best way to use this app is at least a couple of buttons, one for player 1 and one for player 2. Okay, you just have to pair the Bluetooth button by following the in-app instruction, and it's very simple. And then on your smartphone, can set up match formats and all the options that you have. There are many options, short or long match, how many games, how many sets, tie break, yes or not, etc. So you just set up your match format, and then if you want, you can type in your name, okay, and then you just tap on the button every time you hit a winner. So if you make a point, you just tap on your button, and the score goes up. Simple like that. Of course, as Roberto
So it's
was
literally just one button. It's not like 25 different buttons that you need to press depending on the situation. It just whoever wins presses the button. Is that how simple it is, or there is more to it?
No, it's just one
click.
one
click.
button.
Okay. Okay.
One button, one click. Every player has one button. Of course, if you play a double match in 10, maybe just a single player of each couple were button. Okay, I've just made a 15 or a point. Tap on your button, and the button can be clipped on your t-shirt or jersey. You can put it in your pocket. It's very light. And
so it doesn't even have to be on the wrist. It can be somewhere on the clothing, right? So
yes, of
it's
course.
like a watch, but it sounds like it's just a button. Okay.
Exactly. And you can also use one single button if necessary. For example, during tournaments, if you have an umpire, a chair umpire, the chair umpire can use a single button. One click for team A, 2 clicks for team B.
Even better.
Okay. But the best configuration is, of course, when playing me versus Basil, for example, one button for each. And as Roberto was saying, when we came to market with this product, we realized quite soon that we had a couple of technical limitations, because whether you use a smartphone or a tablet, screens are quite small compared to a tennis card. And voice of Siri or Google Assistant or whatever are not loud enough to cover all the cards. So we spent a lot of time trying to think how to solve, how to overcome this problem, how to work it out. And that's why we offer today some bundle offers. So for example, we have ReSound, that's a Bluetooth speaker loud enough to cover probably 3
you just put it in the
cards.
middle of the court and it announces all of the scores and next steps. Very smart.
Okay, so if you are a single player, a private player, and of course you can't mirror your smartphone to a TV screen, because you don't. It's unlikely that you step on the card with a TV with you. Okay, you can just use ReSound, a Bluetooth speaker, and it's easy and smart and quite affordable. So we offer, that's our offer today. We offer a freemium app. So you have a basic offer that's completely free. You can download the app and use it, and pair button, pair Bluetooth speaker, etc. Of course, so you can buy buttons, and you can buy the speaker on our store, or if you prefer, you can use also any Bluetooth speaker mouse, for example. But if you want to archive, share your statistics, and we saw during our researches that's really important for amateur players, especially because they want to have an history of their matches in order to understand if they are improving, and maybe also because they want to make some jokes to their friends. Okay, so I beat you 3 times in a row, etc. And so if you want these features, you have to pay about 10 years, 9.99 euros every 6 months. Okay.
And I see, so these are the prices here, right? So I see it's about 60 euros for the one button, 40 if you buy two. So, okay, yeah, that's reasonable pricing. Yep. Mhm.
About 9 euros for the
For the
wristbands.
bracelet, yeah, yeah. And you said it works with any Bluetooth speaker, so it doesn't even have to be specifically yours. So again,
But this is an important point because Roberto spent a lot of time looking for the right speaker, and this is a waterproof, very resistant, and tested in real life.
right. If it's raining or if the ball hits the speaker, you don't want it. Yeah, very good.
So even if you are 65 and you're playing outdoor on a tennis court with other cards playing at the same time, you can perfectly hear voice of the local assistant of the virtual ref.
Yeah. Can you tell us more about the production part? So my understanding is you don't make those products in-house, obviously. I assume you outsource the production. Can you tell us more how it works? Like if our students wanted to make something like this, like writing the app, it's not easy, but at least, as long as you have a computer, that's all you need. But once you get into the physical products, I guess if you wanted to make it in-house, you would need to have the plastic molds and the technology and semiconductors. That's too much for a startup. So I imagine that you found someone who makes those things for you, or you buy existing and program them to your needs. How does it work? Can you tell us more about the process?
I will pass the ball to Roberto, who's involved in this process much more than me. I just want to tell that one of the most brilliant thing about this app, and that's up to Roberto, is that we were able to use many pieces already existing pieces, shareware technologies, and also, for example, the use that he made of Bluetooth, that obviously an existing technology. And so he made with, for example, the buttons. So Roberto, if you want to talk about that.
Yeah, well, let me say first that Alibaba is a nightmare.
Is it? That's what I wanted to ask you about. So I know that you can place an order for just about anything on Alibaba, get a sample, get a contract. So did you do it through Alibaba, or how did you find the manufacturers?
Well, we spent hours on the web because let's make a simple example, the Bluetooth speaker. I knew perfectly what kind of Bluetooth speaker I wanted. That's not, something that has a short response. I mean, no delay, of course, because otherwise it would eat the first part of the vocal message from the application. And must be IP65 at least. And, that means that is a power waterproof in a certain way. This speaker, by the way, you can plug it in the water up to 1 meter and it's still playing underwater.
You can use it like for water polo if needed or something like that.
It's very nice. So we went into the search, and it must be compact because he had to be stored inside a tennis bag or whatever you want. You cannot have a box of this size to carry around just to play. So we started this search, and at the end we had to buy something like 10 or 12 different speakers to test them. And we tested them in place, in the tennis court, at home, and see how they perform, and distortion. So it was a long work. And once we understood how many watts and what the power from the technical characteristic, we went into search for the best product with the best price and so on. And that is where Alibaba, of course, come in. Even though not always Alibaba is the solution, because timing and shipping time are tremendous and most costly. Sometimes you pay more for shipping than the price of the product itself. And and sometimes it's very difficult to talk to them because their English is worse than mine, and they are very, very. I mean, they don't talk too much, especially when they write. So they don't explain you things. They repeat. I think the web interface of Alibaba needs a lot of work, in order to be more user friendly. But that's my opinion anyway. I haven't spent so much time on it.
But so the speaker, so you found an existing speaker that is good enough and you sort of branded for your product. How about the button? So was it an existing product or you had to actually design it and base? So was it only like pre-programming an existing product, or did you actually need to place an order for the physical new design?
No, we found something similar in the sense that there was a Bluetooth device that could connect to an application, but we had to do all the software in order to establish the communication, because the touch button, the Bluetooth button, has three ways of acting. They have a single click, a double click, and a hold, a longer click. That means you keep it down for 2 seconds. This allows us not only to advance the score with 1 click, but also to correct the score, holding it down for 2 seconds. The score go back by 1 because people do mistakes.
Yeah.
So we had to do all the software part for it, but the hardware we found it a reasonable hardware, and also a reasonable container, because players do sweat, so they may be water, so they must be somehow a little more waterproof. They must be very light because they don't like it to have heavy stuff while they are playing. I tested a different product and I decided, hey, the best thing is to glue it at the end of the tennis racket. And the first time I did a service, the button exploded in 1,000 pieces. So that's why we went for some clip to wear or a band to put in your wrist.
Yeah, very interesting. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Yeah, sorry, I keep interrupting with my questions. So please continue. Please tell us more about.
No problem.
No problem, guys. Okay, now let's talk about the club offer. First of all, why we are focusing on this target, business-to-business target. As I mentioned before, of course, clubs are a perfect shortcut to reach many players, many amateur players, because each club has hundreds of thousands of affiliates. So it's a way to reach many people, to show your brands, to get the right awareness on your brand. So at the beginning, we tried to make some partnerships with them, okay, in order to make them test the product and appreciate the product. But when you approach a new target, you will always learn something. For example, you can discover that while designing your product, your offer, you were imagining a completely different target, completely different needs, completely different way of thinking, etc. So when you get in touch with your targets, you discover a lot of new things. So, for example, we were probably overthinking at the beginning. I don't know if you can remember that, but during the first presentation, we were talking and thinking about an app, very complex app, not only a scoreboard app, but also an interface for the clubs, a CRM interface for the clubs. That was really too complex. They just wanted a scoreboard app as simple as possible, plug and play.
When you're playing, you don't want to do more than just press the button from time to time.
Yeah, of course. Many of them don't want to use time at the clubhouse, talking about explaining the app, or handling too many buttons, or selling buttons, because we thought, well, it could be interesting if tennis clubs or paddle clubs, sports clubs could sell with the markup, of course, our buttons, but they don't want to lose time.
Of course,
This
yeah.
kind of thing. So we had to adapt the situation and modify our idea in order to keep it as simple as possible. So what you can see here is the actual offer. We just asked the club to install a TV or a monitor near the cart, and you can, no matter what kind of TV screen you have, maybe an updated modern television, smart TV, or an old monitor. It doesn't matter, because our system that we named Replay, okay, our system can be connected both wireless or by wire. So it perfectly versatile, it adapts to any device. And so you as a club just need a TV screen.
Yep.
Okay. As we will see, as we are going to see in the next slides, you can have a Wi-Fi networks or not. It's very important. We try to be as versatile as possible. Okay. So you need a television, you need to purchase our Replay. Replay, to keep it simple, is a standalone mini PC, okay, provided with a keyboard. So in a typical situation, player gets to the club, goes to the clubhouse, receive the buttons, step on the cart, click on the buttons, type in their names on the keyboards, and start playing. Simple like that. And the clubs has nothing more to do about that. Okay, so the clubs have as to buy Replay system, this mini PC, one mini PC for each cart, and of course at least two buttons for each system. Yeah. There was a second reason why we decided to address our offer to clubs, because everybody knows it, everybody can see it. We are in the paddle era, the fastest growing sport ever. Okay, and many clubs are investing a lot of money in new facilities for new carts and covering, etc. for playing paddle. So if you are investing 100 euros for building one or two paddle carts, our solution that's quite convenient, we thought it would be very interesting for them. And as I was saying, we have two different modes at the moment. So the clubs that have Wi-Fi network can type in the name of players by remote. So the player gets to the car, goes to the clubhouse, gets their buttons, and the guy at the desk type in their names on the Replay from his desk. Okay, so the players step on the card, they find the system to start. For the clubs that have not a Wi-Fi network, there's a standalone solution. So they step on the card, they find the complete system, TV screen, Replay with the keyboard and the buttons. They just wear the buttons, they type in the keyboards, their names, so they tap on the button and start playing. Simple like that. Obviously, in our dream, we're looking for a hybrid system that put together two different cash flows, single and private players and clubs. So we are working, Roberto and his team are working on a new replay solution that works this way. The clubs purchase a replay and the players pair their own smartphone and their own button anytime they step on the card. And that has many strong points, many advantages for the players, first of all, because it means that all the data, all the statistics, all the match histories, etc., are on your own smartphone, on your own app. You can share it, you can browse.
Yeah, you can, yeah.
And under a business point of view, this hybrid system means earning money from single players because they have to buy their own button and download their own app, and of course from the cards. At the moment, we are focusing on the cards because we need to have as much covering as possible. Because if you are a player and you visit a new club, or you find out that your club, the club you already know, as this new system, of course you are forced, you want to know something more about that, and maybe you visit our website, maybe you download the app for testing it, etc. So we are now focusing on clubs. And we think that also clubs have many advantages, many benefits, because they offer a new way of playing, a new playing experience. Players feels like, feel like a pro. It's a different way of playing. When you stand on the court, you see a big screen scoreboard and a voice commenting your points, etc. It's like being...
Yeah, you feel like you have a real, competition setup, right?
Yeah. And we think the clubs increase their prestige,
exactly,
perception, etc. And so they have an added value. Compared with clubs in the neighborhood. And last but not least, these technologies allows clubs to stream their tournaments. We didn't know yet. We discovered that that's a lot of movement, a lot of interest around this possibility
broadcasting,
to share streamcast matches, especially tournaments. And replay and referee system allows you to come si dice, mettere sovrimpressione,
to put on top of the video of the match, to put the
superimpose.
Superimpose the actual numbers. Yeah, that's very nice.
Statistics, results, etc.
So it feels like a real sort of, televised. Gentlemen.
Also, if I may, just one thing. The important thing is most of the time, people, public watching the match, they don't know what the score is.
Exactly.
That's it's not a small problem because who's winning. I mean, who's in charge? How long is this match last?
Yeah, exactly. So we try to keep these meetings sort of, respect your time, but I do have a lot of questions. Can we have like a series of quick questions, answers? Because I got quite a few things to ask in addition to the product. Like, for example, who are your competitors? Are there companies that make similar products? Are you unique, or other apps or physical products? So you actually have Who's there? Okay. So how would you describe yourself compared to the competition?
Well, we try to make things simple and not expensive. I mean, some system may cost over 10,000 euros to install in a core, in a paddle core. And we were not pointing at that target. Some application works only if you have a smartwatch. That means an iWatch. That means a 300 euro watch that you must have bought sometime in your life. I don't think that so many player owns an iWatch in order to score the point.
Yeah.
And so some application are mostly dedicated to video shot of your match. Personally, I think there are value, but I don't like to see myself on a video when I play tennis, since my tennis is so. We don't do that, so we try to narrow our target to allow the players, the amateurish player, to keep their score, to give to the club the possibility to have a scoreboard, and to handle tournament, because of course we produce a match result, and we can share this match result on a website or with other company that can organize the data in order to print the result, to share them, and to do whatever they want.
So as you can see from the table here.
Yeah, you have a very nice comparison there. Yeah.
Yeah. So we try to put all the pieces together. Our app is probably the most complete on the market, of course, at the moment, at least at the moment. And also, we've learned that it has to be as versatile as possible, because it was originally conceived only for tennis, and then padel came up, and then table tennis, and then tag ball, and maybe tomorrow beach volley or street basketball or whatever.
It sounds like you can do soccer, you can do water polo, you can do just about anything where the ball crosses the line, right? So.
Yeah, exactly. And very important, all the competitors that we have seen right now, till now, don't have any specific offer for clubs.
Yes.
Okay. Except for the hyper specialized competitors that, as Roberto mentioned before, are very, very expensive.
Yep.
Maybe 10,000 euros, because they use cameras, okay, and things like that. And that's not our target, of course.
Yeah. Very good. So another question, geography and languages. So I know the company is out of Italy, but I assume it's also available in English, or what's the languages, and what countries do you currently sort of selling or testing your product in?
Yeah, the application interface is in Italian or English. You can choose which one. And the voice spoken about the match result and so on, is possible to choose between 4 languages. That is English, Italian, French, Spanish, and Portuguese. That's 5.
Yeah, nice.
And more to come.
And then in terms of the geography where you currently sell your product, is it available globally anywhere, or other restrictions at this time? Well,
it is available globally, considering that in some countries, like we learned recently in Brazil, they have a custom duty up to 50% of the product. So,
one thing that I forgot to ask, so technically, the product can work without the button. Like if I wanted to have just the app, I can still use it. It's not convenient, you have to carry the phone, but
absolutely,
work, right?
If you want to do a tennis match and you have a friend that is willing to sit on the side of the court and keep the score using his
Or
phone,
take it out of
and
the
just
pocket
pressing,
anytime, right?
yeah, and just pressing the screen whenever there is a point. You can do that.
That's good to know. So again, easy entry for like an amateur like myself. Let's say I am a member of a tennis club here, Hamilton Lakes Tennis Club. And so most of us are just basically neighbors, like we are amateurs.
Yes.
For me, the biggest
And-
challenge is I don't know the rules very well. I sometimes forget the score. I fight with my son when we play. So it would be nice to have some system that guides me.
You just press your finger. You don't have to know anything about the rules.
To be honest, I don't even I wouldn't even care about, the big cameras and screens. I just want to, play and know who's winning, basically. Yeah. Yeah. Another question, if I may. So looking forward, again, this is not so much about your company per se, but sharing your experience. So what's the strategy for exit? So funding at this time, I mean, I assume you needed some money to fund the development, to fund the promotion, but also what's your long-term strategy? I'm just curious, people in your case, I mean, are you just doing it for fun? Are you planning to sort of become rich out of it? It seems like it has huge potential. I mean, millions of people are playing tennis or other sports. Like, what's your sort of long-term goals in this case, and how do you plan to go about it? If you have already thought about it, or you are just still at the development stage and you don't worry about what's going to happen later on.
Well, I think that probably Luca is the right one to answer this question, but probably the original idea was just let it grow and then sell the company as soon as possible, because it's really hard to grow up.
It is, yeah.
Especially if you do it in your spare time because you have other jobs.
Do you guys have other jobs? Like, did you guys quit your jobs and do this, or you still have other jobs and you do this on the side?
Of course, we have other jobs, and so we work when we can, and that's the truth. So we are asking for collaborations out there because we really need it. But to answer your question, it was like a chain reaction. It's something that you originally do or make just take just as a game, as a Roberto has many interests, especially in technology, of course. Is a tech enthusiast. And so
Roberto is your Steve Wozniak, so the guy who actually makes the things, right? While you sell it, so he actually makes it.
Yeah, but it was really a chain reaction because you just start as a game, and then you have to do new things every day, and now we are completely involved, and we have to go on because it's too late to stop or go back. That's the truth. And also there's an interesting part of that. Every time you learn something new that can be useful for your principal job, of course. Even for me, of course, I have 25 years of experience in marketing, but being involved in this process has been very, very interesting. Unfortunately, I couldn't be involved as I wanted to be due to personal problems, but it's really interesting. It's a different point of view. So I would suggest every one of you guys to try growing up your own company.
Yeah. So yes, you opened the slide here, selling abroad, the X-Culture focus. So maybe let's briefly talk about what you would like to do, the X-Culture students to do. Like from my point of view, so where I live in the United States, we have a lot of tennis clubs. I mean, just about every part of the town has, so we have probably at least 50, 60 of these clubs in our little town. And so if I were working on this, I would probably start interviewing friends who play tennis, asking them, would you buy an app like this? If you already use something, what do you use? How much would you pay? What would you like from an app like that? But I personally would also go, in fact, I plan to talk to my club owner next time I'm going to play tennis, ask, would you guys install a system like that? Would you buy like maybe like 50 or 60 of these sets so that when I come playing, I not only borrow your racket, but I also get the button. So what would it take? And then just interview them, get in their head thinking, see if they're aware of a product like this, if they would be willing to buy it, what stops them. And then based on those answers, I would then try to develop some sort of a promotion strategy. I would also try to literally sell the product to them, like, like, okay, well, here is a company, Referi, out of Italy. Let's try to buy it. And so see what happens. If they say, sure, let's try, great. If they say no, I would then keep asking, so why not? Who makes a decision like that? Is that the club owner? Is it some sort of, so would that be a good approach, or what would you like this to do?
Of course, yes, because it's an hybrid approach. I mean, it's a commercial approach, but also a research-wise approach. I mean, so that's exactly what we need, because we have now tested the Italian markets, but we have to know many things about foreign countries. Of course, USA, Latin America, Spain, etc. So making research, but of course getting in touch with amateur players that can be interested in this product, and also entrepreneurs, club owners, etc., in order to understand if they can be interested in this product and what kind of modulation can be necessary in the system or in the offer, etc. That's a very, very important feedback, and we really need it. And then we would like to receive from you guys some suggestion in terms of marketing strategy, promotional channels, etc. Starting from the easiest, the simple one, okay? Yeah. Because every market has its own characteristics, of course, yeah. And specs, and so we really we're willing to know from you how many informations as possible about your country and your market, and also maybe bad feedbacks, maybe okay, it's too expensive, or wow, it's very cheap. Any kind of feedback would be very, very useful. And also maybe logistics, how to distribute this product.
Because you have a physical product that needs to be shipped. Yeah.
Okay, of course. And then how would be received by private players, these hybrid system? I will try to explain it more clearly. For example, here in Italy, some people told us, okay, you can't force people to use always the same button, because every cart has two buttons. Some pedal carts in Italy has our buttons fixed on the cage, of course. We went through a global pandemic, so you can't use always the same buttons, but many others prefer using always the same button because they don't want to have too many buttons going around. So it would be interesting to know if American people, for example, prefer to have their own button and use their own button and use their own smartphone, their own device, because it would be a boost for us to develop this new hybrid system, and would be also a boost for clubs, because clubs don't want to invest too much in terms of mental investment or involvement in this process. You just have to come up with your standalone mini PC and plug and play and stuff. Okay, so all these informations are really, really important, but there's something more. We would like to involve you guys as partners. We would like to ask you to try and sell the products. So there's a first part of the challenge that's about collecting information, as much information as possible, and then try to sell it. We we will give you €50 commissions for every
So there is even real money involved. So possibility, yeah.
yeah, €50 commissions for every single sale to sports club of the referee play kit.
From my end, I strongly encourage students to try it, not for the money, but for the bragging rights. No, seriously, if you succeed, if you can put on your resume that you facilitated an international transaction, even if it's only a few sales, you will be so much more attractive as an employee to companies when you look for jobs. If you can come and say, you know what, there is this company in Italy, Referi, I worked on the project. I even went out of my way to try to actually get a contract. And I signed up several clubs or several players. All of a sudden, you're not just someone who went to school and listened to lectures. You are someone who has a practical, real experience. Big difference. Yes, if you make a few €100 in the process, even better. But just the fact that you facilitated the contract and you were paid for it, that's what matters. That check mark on your resume, that makes it, it makes a huge difference.
Yeah, of course. Plus 10 to 20% market commission for each new contract with companies, because of course this system, and I mean this, the simplest version, 2 buttons and maybe a Bluetooth speaker and the app, but the core is app plus button. Can be a perfect, for example, gadget for co-marketing activities. So just imagine paddle racket manufacturers with a bundle offer. If you buy our 2 rackets, two paddles, and they come up with 2 buttons, and you just have to download the app. So there are many activities, for marketing activities, that can be done also with the companies, of course, not only clubs or private players.
Yeah, now it seems to me, since I want to buy one of those anyway, I wonder if I can get the commission, and in which case it will be a very big discount for my own copy, my own product, because it seems like a very useful product. Anyway, so we are very much over time. I know many people need to another meeting on top of the hour. So the only thing I would like to ask you, would you be willing to share these slides so I can distribute them to the students as well? Because you have a lot of interesting information on the slides here. Would that be possible?
Possiamo condividere slides.
Yeah, of course.
If you can maybe email me the copy, I'll include that in the recording for the students as well. But yes, otherwise very interesting. So this is exciting. It's both a familiar sort of market because we all play games, but also a completely new product. So that's an interesting combination. So I hope the students will be both having fun trying to solve the challenge, but also will be useful to you and bring a lot of interesting stuff.
Also as well.
Thank you, gentlemen. So thank you so much for the informative webinar. We'll share the recording shortly. And yes, good luck to your business. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for the opportunity. Bye.
Bye. Bye.
Everybody.